So I asked my boyfriend how many books he thought I read in October, and he said 12, and I just laughed. So then he said a higher number. Like, no. Hey all, it's Starzy, and today we are here to do my October wrap-up. And we're not going to be here for very long because throughout the entire month I completed a grand total of 1 book. So the book I read in October, well the book that I completed in October was Horror Store by Grady Hendrix, which is a horror novel set in a furniture store, which is pretty much an IKEA ripoff. And it's a ghost story, essentially, a pretty standard ghost story where, you know, something's going on in the store, and so some of the employees stay overnight one night to work out, you know, why things are kind of messed up and stuff when the first employees arrive in the morning and, you know, shiz happens. I've talked about this book a couple of times already because it was in my horror book recommendations and I talked about it in a vlog, but I did really enjoy this book. So it might have been the only book I completed, but I had a lot of fun with it because it is one of those just kind of classic fun horrors. Like, as much as, you know, weird stuff happens and things aren't particularly happy for everyone because it is a proper horror, like, I still just had a lot of fun with it, and I enjoy your kind of typical, ghost stories, and it's not completely without plot holes or just moments that are kind of like, okay, but why and how? But yeah, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because I just had a lot of fun with it, and I just spilled tea on myself. Good day. So it might have been the only book I read, but it was fun. It was fun. How many times can I say fun? And if you were watching any of my vlogs, you'll know that I was also reading Dracula throughout the entirety of October, but I finished about a quarter of it, and that's it. And I think I can only really appreciate Dracula for, like, I appreciate Dracula for its place in the history of literature, and especially for what it did in the popularization of obviously vampires in popular media. And, you know, a lot of vampires in media we see today take so much from Dracula. So, like, I appreciate it for that fact, but, like, reading it now, like, I just can't get into it. This isn't the first time I've tried to read it in my life either, so I don't know whether I'll ever finish this, but, like, you know, huge vampire fan over here, but I can't seem to get through Dracula. And that's just what it is. It is what it is. I did, however, as much as I only completed 1 book, I did, however, complete my kind of major thing. My major goal for the month, pretty much, which was the same thing I did last October, which was to watch 31 spooky movies in 31 days. And I did actually complete that. So that'll be a whole video of its own because a lot of movies to go through, and I'll do the same thing I did last time where I'll kind of rank them in worst to best. So that's something that will be coming when I get around to it. I only completed 1 book, watched 31 movies, and then the other thing we watched is we did watch, like the series we watched The Haunting of Bly Manor, which is a Netflix show, a horror Netflix show where a teacher takes employment as a nanny and goes to live at this manor to look after these 2 children, and obviously weird stuff happens again to your ghost story, essentially. It's quite a slow show in a lot of ways, and it's much more that kind of subtle creepiness for most of it than, like, actually being high impact scares for the most part. But I really enjoyed it and thought it was really interesting. And I haven't actually seen The Haunting of Hill House, so that's something I'll have to go back and watch. But Bly Manor was kind of beautiful and still creepy, and we love to see sapphic representation. So there was also, like, it wasn't the second last episode, it was like the episode before that, and the ending of that episode actually filled me with so much anxiety, and, like, I couldn't keep watching because I had to get sleep, and I was feeling such, like, legitimate anxiety in my chest. So take that as an endorsement of the show, if you will. And then it didn't even get resolved in the next episode. I still didn't know going on? But like many people, I too watched that series in October. Oh, also, obviously, Spooktober Readathon happened this month, which I was helping to co-host, and I did a movie night as part of that and stuff like that. And also, as much as I only completed one book, I still completed my goal for Spooktober because it checked off a prompt for each section of the party. Might have only read one book, but I still completed Spooktober effectively for what I wanted. So we still succeeded. We still succeeded. Did you do a lot of reading this month? Did you read anything good? Did you participate in Spooktober this year? Did you participate in other readathons? I know there were a lot of readathons happening in October. Did you watch any good spooky movies? Because I probably watched a lot more bad movies than good movies this year, I'll admit, looking back at it. I did also complete a bunch of art this month, so we were still winning. That's really it. Stay safe. Starzy out.